For those of you that have been following along either here on our channel, the newspaper, the TV media, any different various media outlets, you know that the hot topics right now are interest rates, inventory, multiple offers, what the real estate market's doing, is there a lot of buyers in the market, or is there a lot of sellers in the market, and everything else. So today we just wanted to bring you a true boots on the ground view of what we're seeing here in coastal Delaware and what we think will happen in the future as we go, just based on our experience here in the market and the numbers that we look at and the trends that we're seeing. Before we dive into that content, my name is Matt Lunden. I'm a local real estate agent here in coastal Delaware, and I put out content each and every week discussing all things coastal Delaware, the real estate market here, and what it's like to live here. If that's something that you would like to see some more of, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button down below. And then if you're someone that's looking to buy or sell real estate here in coastal Delaware, me and my team would absolutely love to help you, and we love hearing from you guys here on the channel. So all my information is going to be down below in the description and right here on the screen. If we can help in absolutely any way, don't hesitate to reach out. Now let's dive back into the content. Perhaps the hottest topic, and we've been talking about it and harping on it here on the channel, but perhaps the hottest topic in any media right now is interest rates and how they pertain to housing. So interest rates last Friday took the biggest drop that they've taken in a long time, nearly set a record for the largest single day drop in history, but they fell over half a percentage point last Friday. So we were hovering right around 8%, and now we're down below 7.5%. You may be wondering, what immediate impact that has on the marketplace. Well, we saw a lot more buyer activity over the weekend and the first part of this week than we have seen in a while. Is this the start of interest rates, declining for a while? It's tough to say. I can't necessarily guarantee one way or the other. I can tell you though, if it is the start of interest rates coming down, we're going to start to see a lot more buyers coming back into the market, even though it is the fall and typically a slower time of year for real estate here in coastal Delaware. If those interest rates start tumbling, we will start to see a lot more buyers coming back into the market because they don't want to risk missing if they do go back up again, depending on the next Fed meeting and what they say there. It could be a great time to lock in a rate right now, depending on your particular situation. So again, just check with your lender, check with your agent if it's not us, and make sure that you're doing what's best for your financial scenario. I can tell you that if this is the start of interest rates coming down, and dare I say we see something that starts with a 6, it's going to bring a flood of buyers back into the market. And when that happens, we will continue to see prices hit that upward trend. Now, while interest rates do play a bigger role in your monthly payment amount versus the sales price, if we do see those interest rates start to drop, I can pretty much guarantee you that prices will start appreciating at a pretty good clip. And we'll discuss that a little bit more as we go in the video. Perhaps the next topic that's been very hot and very often discussed both by us and again the media is inventory. There's a lack of homes in the market. You keep hearing there's no homes in the market, there's no inventory, there's nothing for people to buy, and that certainly can be true. Here in coastal Delaware, we have about 750 resale homes here on the market. When we expand that search out and look at the entirety of Sussex County, which is the southernmost county here in Delaware, so when we expand that search to the entire county, we have about 960 homes in the market. Just to give some context to those two numbers, so we're not pulling them out of thin air. Back in 2019, when we had a more balanced market between buyers and sellers, at pretty much any given time, we would see about 1,600 homes in the market. That would fluctuate between 1,600 and then, during the summer months when it was a lot more active, we would get up around 2,500 homes. So we are well below those numbers of when we had a more balanced market. And the lack of inventory has certainly kept prices more stable, even though there's less buyers again in the market right now just because of interest rates and the time of year. We're still seeing prices remain relatively stable and level just due to the fact that there is not a ton on the market, at least here in Sussex County. As we expand across the state, it's much of the same scenario. I know in some other markets, it may not be the same case. So when you're looking at real estate, just keep in mind that it is hyper local, and it certainly depends on the specific city and in a lot of times the specific subdivision that you're looking in as far as what's available, how fast things are moving, and the demand in those areas and what it can do to pricing and multiple offers and all that kind of fun stuff. So inventory is still very low in relativity to some of the other areas and some of the other years that we've gone through. So just keep in mind as you're looking that, there may not be a whole lot that's good on the market. That 960 homes that we discussed is everything from mobile homes on leased land to the multi-million-dollar beachfront properties. So there's likely not a ton of options, once we start looking in the exact things that you're hunting for. So if you are a buyer in the market, just know that it may take a little bit longer to find the right home for you. And if you're a seller in the market, just know that there's not a lot of competition right now. While we can't overprice our home and get egregious with it, if you price it it correctly, it will still move pretty quickly because there is not a ton of options out there. So just keep that in mind as you're going through the process, and we can set you up for success if you are a buyer or a seller, and just give you some more things to think about as you go through it. Another buzzword that you've probably heard over the last couple of years and may not have been familiar with before, but are we seeing multiple offers? And the answer to that, it depends. It really depends on the neighborhood, the home, the particular scenario. There's 100 different variables there. So it's not just, hey, you know, this town is seeing a lot of multiple offers. It's very home specific right now. We are starting to see a lot of homes sit a little bit longer on the market just due to those elevated interest rates and it being the fall and not having as many buyers active in the market. So homes sitting a little bit longer, that does open those sellers up to a lot more negotiation and being a lot more open to, you know, conceding some things to the buyer and giving the buyer a little bit more just to get their home sold, particularly those with a certain deadline they need to meet. You know, maybe for capital gains reasons, they need to sell prior to the end of the year. So we see a lot of those people reducing prices or giving a lot more in concessions to get the deal done because they don't want to be holding that property for longer than they necessarily need to. And they're hoping to offload it. Again, maybe they've got a deadline of the end of the year or, you know, another deadline. Maybe they've already gone under contract on a home to buy. And so they need to do something quick. So as we go along, you know, I'm not guaranteeing you 100% that there's not going to be multiple offers, but in many cases with homes sitting a little bit longer, sellers are a little more open to buyer concessions and a little bit more amicable to negotiations. Perhaps the next biggest question is, what's going to happen next and where do we go from here? I wish I had a crystal ball and I wish I could tell you. I've been saying it for a while. I do still think rates will come down a bit in 2024. Typically election years just bring better market conditions. You know, it doesn't matter which party's coming or going. Typically election years just make for a little bit better market conditions. I do not believe that we'll see any interest rates in the 5s anytime soon though. I think we'll probably get to the 6s at some point next year. I'm not sure when that will be. I would like it to be earlier in the year rather than later, just so, you know, a lot of those buyers that have been on the sidelines, you know, they can feel more comfortable about their purchase. But going forward, you know, I don't think that we're going to see 10, 11% rate. At least I hope we don't. I know there was some predictions of that. Hopefully we've seen the peak of it right around that 8% mark. Hopefully it doesn't go any higher than that. So going forward, like I said, I do expect us to hopefully see something in the 6s, whether that be mid, high, low, whichever number it is. As long as it starts with a 6, it'd be a lot better than we are now in the 7s. And it will bring a lot of buyers, again, back into the market. So if we see something with an interest rate starting in the 6s, I would anticipate seeing some appreciation between 5 and 10% of what we've seen this year, just because there's going to be a whole host of buyers that come back into the market, and buyer competition with limited inventory drives up prices every time. That's going to do it for today's video on where we stand in the market, what we see coming, and everything else. Again, if you are just looking to learn a little bit more about the real estate market and life here in Coastal Delaware, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button down below so you can stay in the loop when we go live with new content. And then if you're someone that's looking to buy or sell real estate here in Coastal Delaware, me and my team would love to help you and love hearing from you guys here on the channel. So all my contact information is going to be down below in the description and right here on the screen. And we look forward to hearing from you soon. Peace.